Hi, welcome to a cosmic forecast for this coming week. We are going to use human design, gene keys, and astrology to interpret what's activated on the sky. On Friday, we're going to change from having the sun and the earth in 40 and 37 into having them in 64 and 63. So when they are here in 40, 37, that is a tribal channel. And we call it the mother and the father in the 64 doors. So it's been a lot of like that energy with the mother and the father coming together, being a tribe, a community, and maybe looking beyond traditional gender roles, traditionally how things have been done, and finding new ways. Especially with how the world is right now, we need to kind of be creative and rethink how it works. And we are in the quarter of duality where everything purpose is fulfilled through relationships. So it's really a focus right now to look at relationships, and we are going into the 64 and the 63, which are in the head center, and they're part of the channel of abstraction. And then here this logical channel of understanding and inquiry. So that those kind of different energies, but that both have to do with, I would say, our understanding of the world. And with the 47 as well, that is coming in actually the week after in the transits, it's about also breaking out of oppression, breaking out of the patterns of confusion and oppression and doubt that can very much keep us in a low frequency. So if we look more to the sky and see where things are, we see we have had a focus on the energy in Libra, or in Virgo, sorry, but we see now that Mercury has moved into Libra. So now we have Libra and Virgo, which is part of that that quarter of duality, like I was saying, it has to do with relationships. And what I can see here is that we're going to have a square between Pluto in Capricorn and Venus in Libra. And here it feels like it has to do with values and relationships. And maybe, yeah, it feels like it might be time to kind of get clarity or solutions for some things. We can also see in here, there's a trine. So we have between the air signs, we have the North Node in Gemini in the 16, then we have Mercury in Libra in the 18, and we have Saturn in Aquarius in the 19. This is a trine, and there is a communication here in the air signs where we have the North Node in Gemini. So we are. It's important to be versatile. It's important to go and find the truth. It's important to kind of go around the wheel like Mercury does very fast, and kind of speaks with all the planets to find out the truth. So that's important. And then we have in Libra Mercury that wants to find a harmony, a balance, and also discern, I guess, what's not in balance. And the 18 is about, in the low frequencies, judgment, but in the higher frequencies, about coming into integrity, so that you're not fueling in your energy or your communication in something that where the scales are not in harmony, that integrity. And then we have the 19 that has to do with our sensitivity, but also codependency. So what is it here? We have it in Aquarius, which is that more broader, like the society. So what is it? How are we dependent on society, and how can we use our sensitivity to feel where that doesn't work for us anymore? So it feels like a week where we can understand a lot of things about relationships, about what is in harmony and what isn't, what is integrity and what isn't, what are we codependent on, what is our ability to discern and our sensitivity telling us about some of these things in probably in the bigger scheme in our community and society that don't work for us. And with the square in the 32 and the 61, it's like, what needs to die? What psychosis do we need to stop putting nurturing into? You know, that 32 is that gardener or the guardian that decides where are we going to put water, what plants do we want to grow, that preservation for the future. So it's going to come in and it says, okay, this is where we want to put the water, the nurturing. And it's about fearlessly kind of cut out what doesn't work, and even cutting out then of, you could say, of the psychosis of the 61. And the 61 is a Capricorn gate, so that also has to do with the structures of how things have been. And we have spoken about that many times, that this is where we had a great conjunction of Saturn and Pluto and Jupiter on January 12th. So a lot of these things are falling apart, and we can kind of see, the attachment to it, and that there is a kind of psychosis if we hold on to the old, and we don't want to allow things to crumble when they that's what Pluto wants. It wants rebirth, it wants transformation. So it feels like a powerful week to come. And if we go back, there was one more thing I wanted to mention. You can see here, this is the Friday chart, so many first lines, Sun and Earth, the nodes. We have first line in Mars, we have a first line here in Saturn. So this feels like it has to do with, as well, we have the 260-day calendar, like the Mayan galactic or the dream spell calendar, and that is starting today. I think it's the Jewish New Year. So there's something about the restart that is very much happening. And somehow it's funny too, because we have the two last gene keys, the two last hexagrams that are going to be activated. And even with the nodes, the nodes are always going backwards. So we go from the sixth line to the first line. So soon we're going to change the nodes as well. So it feels like finishing and starting. And it's also a chart that is a reflector. So also a lot of possibilities that are in there. And we have completely open ego. So it's like, what are you trying to prove? You're not here to prove anything, And you can kind of say, I guess that the not self theme of all the centers are important this week, because it's so much openness. So we're not here to think about things that don't matter, that we can't change, that are just keeping us in doubt, psychosis, and confusion. We're not here to pretend to be certain, not at least in a rigid way. It's like, you can be certain that you want to have freedom. You can be certain that you want to have love. But when you start to kind of be in division or in conflict with others because you're so certain about certain ideas, then it's really showing us here with open Ajna that that's not going to lead anywhere. And then here we have seeking attention or approval, like kind of using logic, because these two are both logical gate, or using language. And when it's open as well, it's like, whose agenda are you speaking? Who are you spokesperson for? Is it for your inner truth or some inner, like outer influence coming in? Here is speaking about our direction and our identity and what love is. And here we have the feminine, the way shower, that is activated. So here is, are you outsourcing your direction, your identity on something or somebody else? Are you hooking into something and be like, okay, this is what I'm following? Or are you really coming into your heart and your soul and feeling what that is? And we already spoke about the ego. Then we have the emotional center. So here we have conflict, we have desire, and we have dishonor activated. So again, are you allowing your emotions to pull you out of center? Emotions are here to be felt. They're here to be spice in life, colorful, but they are not here to pull us out of the heart or off center. So the higher frequencies here are that peacemaking ability of the 6 and kind of lightness of the 30, to not take everything so serious. And there's a grace too in times of turbulence that the 22 is bringing. And then we have the Sacral Center that's open. So whose energy is kind of driving you? Is it your own energy? And the 9 speaks about the small steps. It speaks about that intention in every endeavor, in every step. You don't have to climb the mountain in one day, but it's that intention and that determination where you become invincible. And you can see that is what's connected in the nodes. that can be indifferent and inertia, which I don't think is a good time to have right now. You know, the first line is about what works and what doesn't work. And I can assure you that right now, indifferent and inertia is not really good tools. But the higher frequencies here is that versatility, the North Node in Gemini, the versatility of finding new ways, of finding truth, of communicating and like finding out, being curious. And the 9 has to do with that way of using energy with intention in small steps, and then we can climb a mountain, or we can build a new world together. And then we have the root center. So don't allow outside pressure, and don't be codependent on the outside. You know, don't allow outside pressure to have you stress to do anything, and see what you're codependent on, and use your sensitivity to discern what you need to kind of put your perseverance on, or your fuel on. And then the last center that we have that's open is the Splenic Center, that has a lot of fears in it. So here, the 32, we spoke about it, is that preservation. It can be a kind of panic in it, but instead of panicking about the future, it's really a simple question to say, what do I need to preserve in order for the future, the garden of the future, to be healthy? And then the 18, we were speaking about that as well. It has to do, well, it's kind of it can be judgmental, which could go together with this theme of the Ashna, pretending, or, you know, wanting to be certain. We can't really be completely certain of everything right now. There is when everything is changing, there is going to be a lot of unexpected changes with the second gene key and Uranus. Then important in every moment to be in integrity, to feel like we were saying with Libra there, the scales much. So the more we can, and the scales can be the inner feminine and masculine, the scales can be the yin and yang, the scales can be between being and doing, between, you know, action and receiving. So that's what I feel like the 18 is speaking about. So these are things to think about this week. A good week towards the end of the week, good for conversation, for allowing things to maybe die when we have understood what works and what doesn't work, where we need to put our energy. And then watch out for these themes in the open centers, feeling a lot of that energy of Virgo and Libra in the closer planets, where we're still kind of organizing our life in a better way in Virgo. And then Libra is finding that harmony and cutting off in that square to Pluto, what doesn't serve anymore. And then we have some of the pull on the other side of those more of the outer planets that are more in the transpersonal, that can be destabilizing, or where we can use the South Node and the North Node to see, okay, if this is my focus, that determination and that intention together with the versatility, like then the pull of whatever, you know, we are in the middle of is not going to get us off center or into that confusion, psychosis, and doubt. Instead, we can tune into the G center, to the inner way shower, and be curious, have inquiry, have imagination, and have inspiration even in times like this. That's what I see for the coming week. Thank you.